And my friends, we come together again, coming your way to the seats, and we will begin with our first song, which is on our prayer card. Yes, and it's called Let There Be Peace on Earth on the prayer card. And you can be seated. With our invocation, we begin with thank you, Creator Source, for bringing us all together. As we come together, we open our hearts in gratitude for this space, the opportunity for friendship and connection to Spirit. And with this, we say, thank you. Feel it in your heart. Thank you. Now, I'm going to introduce our church a little bit. We are a church that in the 90s became one that leads ourselves through a board of trustees. I'm the president of that board of trustees, and we have 8 of us, a dynamic group. And we are a church that's in renewal. We are in renewal together. And right now, we have so much to celebrate. You'll hear about that in a little few minutes, about our volunteer days. And for right now, I will say also that we have board members sprinkled around us. Here are 2. There's one in the tech room. I'm here. And there's one. There's a secretary there. So there's a lot of us that have been here a long time. We were born in 1913 as a spiritualist church. So we are very old, and we stand on the shoulders and in companionship with many in spirit and all kinds of energy. So we are long, strong, small church in renewal. We are sturdy. And now, I'm going to turn you back to the prayer cards. And we're going to have a song. And Michael, are you going to sing it now? Did you set that up?
No, he's going to sing it just before I talk.
Very good. That's good to know. And so we're going to look at our principles on the card, please. And the affirmation which is under them, and we're going to read them together as you feel to. We believe God is the eternal source and creator of all, and is present in everything. Our eternal soul, endowed with free will, grows through many lifetimes. Communication occurs between the physical and spiritual worlds. Prayer and meditation strengthen our connection to the divine. All healing comes from Source. Seeking this for ourselves and compassion for others' suffering is the highest priority. Because we are all one, What we do unto others, we do unto ourselves. The choice of love is always open for every soul. Living these principles leads us to grow in divine love. Breathe it in. And let your eyes flow down to the church affirmation. We'll read this together too. We totally accept the belief that God is in charge of the affairs and direction of Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church. As our thoughts of trust and joyful anticipation join in harmony with the thoughts of all the members of this fellowship, we attract the right ministerial leadership and people to our spiritual community, and we are grateful. Thank you. And so now, we're going to have a few announcements. I want to introduce Connie Carter, who has come from Colorado, as our speaker today. She's been our speaker annually for 18 years, driving from Colorado to see us. And she's a past president of our Board of Trustees when you lived in Duluth. And you have been on a path that is, well, the words kind of say it, since 1988, and you discovered Ernest Holmes' religious science, and also the path of divine science, and also the path of being in service to whatever spiritual communities are the best fit for her wherever she lives. She is a servant of leadership and of divine science and religious science. And she's offering prayer treatments after the service. You can sign up. There's a sign-up page on the welcome table. They're $5, and she is a prayer partner and leads us in prayer one by one, and it's about 5 to 10 minutes. So it's a beautiful opportunity for us to understand another path that's going on in the world of spirit for many, many years. And yes, it's Evergreen, Colorado, where you work with the Unity Church there. Yeah, so sounds like a beautiful place. Now, I want to say a few other quick announcements, and I'll keep them short. We're in the midst of volunteer days. Last summer was our first time for volunteer days. It's a good way to do it, to focus our energies on a certain number of days. And it's because Barbara is here in town again. She lives on Madeline Island. She's on the board. She's a go-to, get-it-done professional powerhouse. She's already power washed the front porch when we thought we were just going to get borrow one on Monday, and it's done, man. And so, but she's also a channel, a professional singer, a world traveler for working for world peace. So she was gone many months, I think 9 months last year, to Europe and to this country working with teaching peace. And she also, on the island, there's a free exchange, and she said, I'll find us some pillows for the chairs. So we're on batch number 1 of pillows. We know they're not perfect, but they're pretty good. And we're going to keep collecting them from the free exchange. And then we've been able to choose which ones we want. So we're going to have fun with it. We'll be able to store them here right here. So maybe each speaker will choose their own pillows. We'll see how it goes. And also, we have prayer flags that have been donated to us that have deep, profound meaning from an 8th century, from the 8th century, a man who is often referred to as the second Buddha requested prayers for 2024 to 2030 for great destruction that may come to earth. And so the prayer flags are dedicated to that prophecy, and they will be hung next Saturday. So if any of you are interested in hanging out with us, they're going to go on on the upper level of each of our 2 doors. We're pretty excited about it.
What time?
And we haven't set the time because Robert Aho is going to join us and lead us. And so if you're on our alert list, you'll know. But probably something like 10 o'clock in the morning. And of course, weather dependent. And, oh, there's a sign-up sheet on the tables. There'll be one that is passed around for the other things that are going on. A sing-along day with Barbara, because she's here, next Wednesday maybe, and also mediumship workshops. We're still collecting names on that, and also the, we did the other one, the prayer flags. So that's that about that. And now we will turn, my friends, to our prayer bowl. And as you know, those of you who have been here before, it's active all the time, 24/7. At any time, we may place an intention and for prayers to start generating through our bowl. And also at this time, I also ask who might want us to have prayers that they mentioned today for us to pray for as a group. Please step forward and we'll stay on camera if you have a prayer.
I would like us to pray for all my Facebook friends because they seem very, very divided right now. And it's good to see stuff come up, but I'm praying for all of them. So if we can just include them, that would be good.
Maybe we could do that for the whole world. Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Welcome.
I just want to ask for prayers for my sister who has been diagnosed with one thing after another with COVID. She now has dementia. She's in Arizona. I haven't seen her for 6 years. We'll probably never see her. So I don't actually know how good or how bad it is, but I know it's not good. So just prayers for peace and healing for her and her husband. Thank you.
And her name?
Her name is Heidi. His name is Clayton.
Thank you. Thank you. Who else? Well, we have a friend of our community, our greater community, Sarah Paginen, who's been going through a cancer journey. We ask for prayers for Sarah and her family. A great scientist, musician type person, just amazing person. And I also ask for prayers for the body of our church, for Stephen Arculari and Flip Arculari, father and son, both going through enormous physical challenges. Flip with recently diagnosed cancer, and father, Stephen, an amputation that went, the whole thing has been difficult. But he's really, really doing well on the mend now. But we have been praying for them off and on for a long time too. And also, isn't there somebody that well, you know, you always say your sister, and your sister Molly's doing so well, she doesn't need prayers. Well, except we're going to say prayers for everybody, and I ask, as always, for prayers for Gaia and this amazing path we're on of ascension as a planet in the cosmos, where a lot of eyes are watching us, and hearts, especially hearts, as we go through the process. And may we be gentle with each other. May we be in loving service with our hearts to the earth, to nature, and to the immense suffering, great compassion that is in nature and in all the people so, so much. Blessed be. And I will say, as my eyes fall on Julian, I'm glad to see you here, Julian. You have been in our prayers, and here you are in person. I suppose we might hear you and get to speak with you at lunchtime, right? Okay, my friend. And so we will have a few moments of silence here to pray, lift it up, and then Connie will step forward and lead us through a meditation and song and things with Michael's song. So may we pray. Oh, in the silence. Yes, please. Let's lead in the silence, please, Carol. 74. Amen.
Yes, I think that's fine. So as you continue in that silence, let's allow our minds and our hearts to drop even deeper. Take a breath. Move into that deep, deep space that is within each one of us. That is the divine. For it is there that we are known. It is there that we know. It is there that we are one. One power, one presence, one truth, one wholeness. In that awareness, our hearts are open, our minds are alert, our bodies are relaxed. We are present, right here, right now. This moment that has brought each one of us is alive. It is alive with the goodness of life. And so I invite you to gently breathe in that goodness into all areas of your life. And in that breath, to know it is so. And then to breathe that goodness out. Sharing it not just with each other, but with the whole universe. As that goodness becomes the breath of life. It is. And so we let it be. And in peace, we say thank you. Returning our awareness to this room, to this place, to the now. It is perfect, it is whole, it is complete. And so it is. Now Michael Anderson is going to bless us with his voice.
As we continue in that place, in that peace, surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory in its face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Thank you. And so that's going to take us into the talk that I've prepared today, which is Surely the Presence. Because that song has moved into my life in a powerful, dynamic way. I recently was in a hospital room with my uncle. He was 88 years old, and he has dementia, and it had moved into a very dark place. And so I was sitting there by his side, and my aunt was there, and she decided to become confrontational. And I don't know if you've had that with any of your friends that may not be of the same political belief you are, but she decided to question me about my beliefs and to chastise me because I have a son that has chosen to distance himself in my life. And it's like, I was so shocked because, you know, we're sitting in a place that we're honoring my uncle that's, you know, working through some issues. And so I excused myself as easily as I could, and I left the room. But I felt that emotion drop into my body. And I don't know if any of you have ever had experiences like that, but it just, you know, I left the room, you know, the tears, the anger were all very present. And luckily I was going to a friend's house, so I thought, well, she'll be able to just, you know, I can unload on her, right? and I'll be okay. And I did that. I went and I talked to her, and then I went home and I talked to my husband, Mike, and he held me while I cried, and still it was stuck. I couldn't shift it. So that next Sunday was our Sunday to go to, we attend a group called Unity of the Foothills in Evergreen. And they don't do a talk like this where somebody speaks at you. They do a sacred circle where somebody facilitates a topic, and then they all share their feelings about that topic. And our friend Michael had chosen that day to share his interpretation of Greg Braden. And I mean, I'm an avid Greg Braden, you know, follower, but as I sat there and listened, it felt like everybody was in their heads and nobody was in their heart. And so I finally, and this was not easy for me. I raised my hand and I stood up and I said, guys, I've got to leave. I'm in a lot of pain. And this is doing nothing for me. And I don't know about any of the rest of you, but sometimes claiming your feelings is not always easy. But I did. And I got up and picked up my purse, and I was planning on walking out of that room when one of the wonderful people there looked at a couple of other people and they said, "Would you let us wrap you in a jelly roll?" And I don't know, like a jelly, have anybody ever looked at a jelly roll? You know, it's like cake and jelly all wrapped nice and, you know, beautifully together. And so they asked me if I'd be willing. And I said, "Why not?" And so they did. What they did was they each took each other's hand. And then we're talking 10, 12 people. They wrapped themselves around me. I mean, they were so close that they just, you know, my body felt the heat from their body. I mean, they was wrapped tight like a jelly roll. And then one of the ladies there began singing that song. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel its mighty power and its grace. My heart broke open. The tears started flowing. And I was able to release that emotion. I was able to let it go. And I found myself standing there, sending love to the hospital room, to my aunt, to my uncle, to the whole family that was involved in his process. And ever since then, those words have been ringing in my head. It's like, I know. I mean, I've been on this path for a long time. And I know that, you know, that I am a great expression of life. But I had forgotten. I had moved into a place that I didn't remember that right there God was in me, just as God is in every one of you. We don't have to go anywhere or be anything special for that presence and that power to operate through us. All we have to do is say, "I'm open. I'm ready." And it takes over. And so, you know, I thought, well, that was the end of that, right? Wrong. But that's, you know, that's where I want to start, is to, you know, first off, I mean, to look at those words. And the first word I wanted to share was feel. I feel. For when you can feel something, you then take yourself to choice. You know? Does it feel good? Not so good? Do I want more of it? Am I ready to move out of it? What do I feel? And then there's the word in this place. Right here, right now. Wherever you're at, whatever is going on. It's not the past. It's not the future. What am I aware of in this moment as it is unfolding? Once again, you're at choice. And then there's the word grace. And that's not a word I use much. But I've been doing a lot of reading from, you know, the people that have really guided me and directed me from, Ernest Holmes with religious science, Nona Brooks and Melinda Kramer from divine science, Charles and his wife from Unity. And all of these books that have been guiding me on my spiritual path. And all of a sudden I had 5 of them spread out. And I was reading all of them. But they were all saying the same thing. This is not new stuff. Even though you hear it called New Thought, it's not new. Spiritual masters have been practicing the power of the presence for eons. And it's going to continue. It hasn't worked its way through all of us yet. It's still got a job to do. And so it's still working. And so I began to think about, coming here and talking to you and sharing some of this that I've been experiencing. Because it jolted me. It brought me alive. It woke me up. And that's what I'm hoping that the words that Michael's saying will do to you. And a little later, we're going to sing it again, because I want you to take that deep. I want those words to come alive like they did for me. Because I found I'm becoming across some, I live in the mountains in Colorado, and we have some drivers there that are not always nice. We have, on the road that we drive quite often, it decides to, I don't know who the engineers were of this road, because it goes from 2-lane to 1-lane, 2-lane to 1-lane. And like about 7, 8 times in the coming down the mountain or going up the mountain. But there are people that think that they need to get there faster. And so, all of a sudden, you're going into, you think you've merged, right? You're going down into 1 lane and somebody comes by you and they cut you off. And sometimes they yell out the window, some thoughts that aren't really pleasant. And I found myself singing that song. Surely the presence of God is in this place. And I was able to just breathe and let go of what sometimes was frustration and anger at these people. Like my words kind of matched theirs. They were not really high thoughts either. But by singing that song, I felt a change. And I was able to let it go. And so I chose to call my aunt that Monday after this happened, and she told me they was going to bring my uncle home. And he was in the hospital, they had said. He was going to have 24/7 care, because he was doing things like hiding knives and hammers, and they had already moved all the guns out of the house because of an incident that had happened before, that she had found a gun in their bedroom, and he said that he heard people in the night. Well, she happens to be, someone that gets up in the night to go to the bathroom, so they had already removed all the guns, but now he was hiding other things because the paranoia was so strong. And he thought, sure, somebody was trying to kill him. And it wasn't because he was angry or mean, it was that he was scared. But they were going to bring him home instead of taking him to a facility where he would have 24/7 care. And I thought, wow, But my 5 male cousins had committed to being there because I had already had quite a conversation with them that they could not put this all on my aunt. He was 88, she's turning 83. And, she cannot handle this pressure of being totally responsible for someone that doesn't even recognize her. So my cousins made a commitment that, they was going to step up to the plate and be there for their dad. So I hung up the phone and sang that song. It's like, okay, right there, God. Surely your presence is right there. You know what to do. And I let it go. Then it just happened that a friend of mine called, and she was crying and upset, and she's in the process of divorcing her husband of 24 years. And she was just mad. I mean, he'd pushed her buttons one more time. And I decided to share my experience with that song. I said, I got to tell you what happened. And I sang it to her. And I'm not a singer. But the words flowed. And by the time I finished singing that short song, surely the presence of God is in this place, I can feel its mighty power and its grace. There's a holy house around us. I see glory in each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Do you know she was able to shift? All of a sudden, she was able to see glory in the face of this man that she had loved, and was choosing to move out of the presence of. And so 3 hours later, when he showed up for them to deal with the issue that was going on, she was able to hold on to that. She continued to see the glory in his face. They resolved everything, and she not only didn't take on this feeling that she was bad for getting a divorce, that she was bad for choosing to end a marriage that had not been supportive of her, but she was also able to see that he wasn't bad either, that this was perfect and right. And so that continued as, I went through my day, went through my life. I mean, I'd be working on a computer project, and all of a sudden it's like, the computer ganged up on me and decided not to work, and the printer wouldn't work. And, I don't know if anybody else has those experiences, but it's like, ah! And the technology, I love it and I hate it. And I find myself singing that song. And I step away, and I come back, and it's fine. Somehow it got fixed. So when my aunt called me later that week and said that my uncle had passed, he'd actually only been home. They brought him home on Tuesday. He was home Wednesday. And at 3 a.m. on Thursday morning, he went in his sleep in peace. This is a man that every time the nurses tried to take his blood pressure would swing. Every time they would try to shift his body into a more comfortable position, he would scream and yell. This man went to sleep and died in peace. And it's like, wow. So they only lived 15 minutes away from us, and she asked me if I would come over. So I did. I got dressed. I mean, it was 6:30 in the morning, and drove over there and was visiting with my cousins. And so I asked them if they had called their minister, only to find out they don't have a minister. They don't have a community. That here she was ragging about me on my beliefs and my opinions, and they didn't have a solid community to support them. So I said, kind of quietly, I am qualified if you need someone to do the service. And because my training has allowed me to do that. And I just left it. And then, finally all the boys were there, and hospice came back and took the body, and the boys were all outside, and I was standing there with my aunt and 2 of her daughter-in-laws and a 22-year-old granddaughter. And I felt the words come up again. And I said, I recently heard this song. Can I sing it to you? And my voice was strong. It was beautiful. I sang that to them. And then my cousins came back in and said, we just had a meeting, and we want you to do Uncle Ted's funeral. So a week later, I went to Fort Logan, which is the military the cemetery that has a lot of meaning to me because all of my family's there. My dad, my mom, both my brothers, my sister-in-law. And I led the service. And because it was kind of, I was talking to a lot of traditional Christians, I wanted to be careful that my words, didn't offend them. And I dropped into that place and I asked that, that I have the power to do that. To be non-confrontational. And when you do that, it happens. After the service, I had several people come up to me and say, oh, that was beautiful. And so, I know that we can do that, especially now. We're in a political upheaval. There's a lot of people that don't agree. And they're saying so on Facebook. But sometimes they say it to your face. And I would like to offer you the gift of this song. Take those words. Take them deep into your heart. And to use it. To know that right there, that presence is. So now, I'm going to ask Michael to come up. We have laid out some words to that song on some of the, and you may need to, get with someone else. But we want to sing this. And then I'm going to ask if after, I don't know, 2 or 3 days or maybe a month, if something shows up and you'd love to send me an email and share it with me, I would love to hear your stories because I think this song has power.
Okay.
Okay, it's yours.
You all have your sheets, hopefully. We're going to sing this through this 5 or 6 times. Oftentimes when I'm up here, I talk about going into the breath all the way down here to support that song. And it also helps to transcend the physical and the emotional and to release. And that's what this song is all about. Breathing in. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory in each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory in each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory in its face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. And one more time. Surely the presence of God is in this place. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory in each face. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Now I suddenly saw and felt all of us in a jelly roll and embracing each other and resonating with that song, with our voices and the uplifting.
Thank you, Michael. So I'm going to turn it back to Carolyn. Thank you so much for inviting me and having me and being my family. This community is the most amazing thing I know. You supported me when I lived here, and you've gone with me everywhere I've gone. So thank you.
And now, my friends, we will have our offering. Please come forward with the baskets. And
Okay. Yes. And I'd like you now to feel the presence of your heart and your spirit. And as you breathe slowly and easily, feel the presence of spirit, of the universe of spirit that we all are together. We are together in light, compassion, and love, and peace, and joy. And take a breath together. Oh, I thank you, I thank you, I thank you for the light and love that we are together, always together in the oneness of spirit. Amen, amen, amen.
Thank you, Jerry. And my friends, this is the benediction I wrote this morning.
Don't we have another hymn?
What?
Don't we have another song
Yeah.
for the beauty of the earth? Number 15 in the
Oh, number
spiritual-
15. We have time for it.
in the old spiritualist book.
Oh, good. Okay. Gosh, we haven't sung from that forever. I got to get mine. In the old spiritualist book. So that's this. And there's one for you. No, there's not. You want to come up with me? Sure.
For the beauty of the earth, for the beauty of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies. Lord of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the beauty of each hour of the day and of the night, hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of light. Lord of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of ear and eye, for the heart child, friends on earth and friends above, for all gentle thoughts and mild. Lord of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy Lord of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise.
Stay standing. I received this benediction this morning, and it goes so well with what Connie brought us. As we go into our week, may we breathe through our hearts, radiate through our hearts, and may we shine. Morning, noon, and night, shine out to each other and to live as one with our Creator. Amen. And may we join in our circle in the front here.
There you go.
Well done, Patty. Here we go.
All right.